Hey, Sam.
All
All
right.
right. Hey, so here's your question. Garvin from Encinitas asks, what is the difference about the action in a Winchester Model 70 and a Winchester 70 Classic?
Darvin from Encinitas, thanks
Yep.
very much for writing in. What were you going to say, Michael?
I was going to say, you hear that a lot. You hear that a lot about the Winchesters, the pre-64 Winchesters being better, than the post-64. And then not too long ago, they came out with these Winchester 70 Classics, or some of the other lines are Classics. And no one really nails down, well, what exactly happened in 1964 that made them different. So this guy's asking, hey, what's the difference between a pre-64 Winchester Model 70 and a post-64 Winchester Model 70? So go for it. What do you got?
Oh, well, what happened in 1964? President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act into place. No, but the full disclosure, I had not heard the Winchester Model 70 Classic before, but it sounds, based on the name, like it's a return to the mechanical um, basis of the pre-64 Model 70s. And you do hear that a lot, that distinction made between pre-64, post-64 Winchester Model 70s. Now, I'm a little bit out of my depth on this one, but if I remember correctly, the main difference between the pre-64 and post-64 Model 70s is in the feed system, and consequently the extractor. Pre-64 Model 70s, as far as I'm aware, again, use a controlled feed system, sort of like a Mauser, where as soon as the top round in the internal box magazine pops up into the feedway and you push the bolt forward, all the way to the time that the spent casing from that round is extracted and ejected from the gun, that rim is being held in place, or I should say the extractor groove is being positively held in place by the extractor, hence control feed. Push feed is a little bit simpler to implement. Push feed is what you'll see in an AR-15, for example. If you can imagine an AR-15, AR-10 type bolt, the top round in the magazine is pushed into the chamber by the bolt, and only when the bolt goes into battery with the round in the chamber does the extractor claw snap over into the extractor groove on the rear portion of the case. Again, push feed is a little bit simpler to implement, but controlled feed is considered to be more reliable, particularly in a manually operated firearm, because it makes it much less prone to inducing a double feed, for example, and some other types of malfunctions.
There you go. And it's also not reliant on gravity, right? In other words,
Yeah. So with a control feed system, because the top round that's in the feedway is always being held onto by the extractor, you can operate the rifle at any sort of weird angle. You could turn it upside down, whatever. I don't know why you would, but this was important for bolt action military rifles because they would often be used in adverse situations, which is, I guess, the euphemism of the century for being shot at. And also, I can see that would be useful for a hunting rifle, although I don't personally hunt. I would imagine that if you're um, out in the brush trying to make yourself as concealed as possible from whatever type of game animal you're hunting, you might get some sort of weird angle. You might be lying on your side or whatever. The rifle might be on its side, and with a push feed, the top round might just fall out the top of the receiver. With a controlled feed, there's no risk of that happening.
well, and I was thinking about if you want to go hunting in space and there's no gravity. Like next time Katy Perry goes up, and she's an astronaut now, so next time she goes up and she wants to do a little shooting with her Model 70, I think it'll probably be better for her too. By the way, you got the question absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
Model 70. Go ahead.
Something else to point out that
Sure.
is not recognized as much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Something else to point out about the difference between controlled feed and push feed is that a controlled feed rifle is a little bit better if you're a reloader. And the reason for that is because with a controlled feed system, the extractor will generally be fixed and there will be a notch in the bolt face so that when you pull the bolt back far enough, the fixed extractor, like what people call the shark fin in an AK receiver, will knock it out just relying on the force generated when you ram the bolt back. Whereas with a push feed rifle, you'll have a plunger style ejector in the bolt face so that as soon as the vent casing coming out of the chamber has enough space to be pushed out by that spring-loaded plunger, it will fly out under spring pressure. So if you have a controlled feed rifle and you want to save your spent casings to reload them, especially if it's some kind of weird, rare type of round, then you can just work the bolt very, very slowly, and the spent casing will pop out with very little force because you're not imparting much force to the bolt, if that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. It's also one thing that doesn't get talked about a lot is it's quieter.
Yeah.
It's quieter, which doesn't sound like a big deal. But
When you're hunting, it is.
When you're hunting, if you're a sniper, you know what I mean? If you're, especially if you're hunting, you don't, maybe you're, stalking without having one in the chamber or whatever, and you finally, find a shot and you're looking to, rack around in, and last thing you want to happen is for you to have some unnecessary noise. But, okay, Model 70, the Model 70, first off, is a classic rifle. What's its nickname? The Rifleman's Rifle, I think is what it's called, or something like that.
That's the Sam question.
Yeah. Sam, is it a Model 70 called the Rifleman's Rifle or something like that?
I haven't heard that before, but that's not to say it isn't true.
So the Model 70 pre-1964 and post-1964 variants, the pre-1964, the original Model 70, introduced in 1936, featured a controlled round feed, or CRF, just like you said, with a Mauser-style claw extractor, also just like you said. This design grabs the cartridge rim as it's fed from the magazine and holds it securely through the entire cycle, enhancing reliability, especially in adverse conditions or with high-pressure rounds. Post-1964, Winchester redesigned the Model 70 to cut costs. Never a good idea. Introducing a push feed action in many variants. In this system, the bolt pushes the cartridge into the chamber without gripping the rim until chambering, which is less reliable for extraction under certain conditions, for example, a sticky case. The push feed design also used a smaller, less robust extractor and a plunger-style ejector, which were cheaper to produce and less reliable. So in the 1990s, they went back to the claw extractor. It was actually the early 1990s, and now they refer to those as Model 70 Classics. So just like you said, so if the extractor is designed like it was pre-64, then it's called a Model 70 Classic. When I was looking this up, I think they're all, if you buy a Model 70 today, I think they're all classics. I think they all have the claw extractor. They're all the way they used to be. I don't think any of them use the push feed action at all.
I'm sure you
anymore.
can find some used ones if you want to
buy some used one, yeah. But if you're buying a new one off the shelf since the 90s, it looks like all Model 70s
correct
are classics.
I like to update, by the way. It is the Rifleman's Rifle. You were correct.
The Rifleman's Rifle. There you go.
Yeah.
I seriously, I think that's on the to-do list, the Model 70. It's been on my to-do list for like 20 years, though, so maybe don't take me seriously. Okay, if you're smart enough to stump Sam, send us a question. Go to gunownersradio.com, submit your stumper, and let's see if we can stump my nephew. Cool, man. Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it. Hey, thanks for watching Gun Owners Radio. I hope you loved that clip. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on social media. And check out our website at gunownersradio.com.